Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Betting Show Week 4, brought to you by freebets.com. The very best free bet offers brought to you daily by the Free Bets team. Adam, you've been doing a lot of writing for freebets.com, a lot of little bet builders, had quite a lot of success with these articles. How's it going over at freebets.com?
Yeah, not too bad. I've had a few. There's been a bet builder that we had. We had an ACCA as well. I think it was week 2 on the Sunday, so that was good. Yeah, so it's been going really well. Go over there, lots of articles, lots of betting tips. Anyone who wants football, cricket, golf at the moment, Ryder Cup tips. I'm sure there's going to be stuff over there for you. Obviously, I've got a NFL ACCA for this Sunday. I've also done a bet builder for the Dublin game, and there will be bet builders for the London games as well coming up. So, yeah, there's plenty of stuff over there, and lots of winners from lots of people who know a lot more than me. So there you go.
Wow, you're doing well at the minute. I'd take your advice at the minute, so why not?
So you should.
We've already had a game as usual, Adam, so we'll briefly talk about that one. It was a close game. It finished 20-23 to the Seattle Seahawks against the Arizona Cardinals. I think the scoreline is probably a bit closer to what the game was from what I saw. I feel like Seahawks should have got this one put away a bit quicker. A few errors from the Cardinals team, but they had a good fourth quarter to bring it back. Adam, how did you feel about the game?
Bit of a familiar story, isn't it, with the Cardinals? They sort of play a little bit all right and then a bit rubbish, and
They're unpredictable, aren't they?
yeah, we've been saying it for a while, and it looks like it's going to be like it for the season, to be honest. The game itself was a bit meh, I think is probably the nicest way to put it. Not a great deal happened. I think probably the highlight was Jackson Smith and Jigba swearing as he ran past the referee. That was quite good. Aside from that, not much happened. It always felt like the Seahawks had the game in hand. I think that's probably how I'd describe it. And they looked all right. They looked like a solid unit. And the Cardinals, as you say, unpredictable. And it's like you said, it's not a case of game to game. It's almost like half to half or quarter to quarter with the Cardinals. You never really know what you're going to get, and I think it's probably going to end up costing them in the end.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 big mistakes in the game. Did eventually get his touchdown.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on him through this season? Do you think it's too early to call him a bust, or do you think there's still some in this player?
Yeah, I think it's too early. A lot of people are saying that he's not what they thought, and I think a lot of it boils down to confidence. I mean, you could see from the catches that he made, especially the touchdown catch was a really good catch that he had at the end of the game. You got to remember he was the guy. He was the man, wasn't he? In that, when you think Ohio State and them, that plethora of wide receivers that they had when he was there, it didn't matter. He was the guy all the way through his time there, and it was like, even though others showed that they were capable, it was almost like he knew he was the number one target and that he was the main guy. He's not that in Arizona. From day one, he hasn't been that. It is Trey McBride. That seems to be the way that they've decided to go, and so it is a little bit of a different situation for him. But I think he's got plenty more left in there. He's a good receiver. He just needs a bit of time, and I would argue he probably needs a slightly more reliable quarterback as well. I think that causes a lot of problems for him because, yeah, okay, he's had some drops this year. But some of the passes is not great, and that's not helping. So it's difficult. It's a weird situation in Arizona at the moment. I don't quite know how they sort of move from where they are. They're just kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah, I think when you think about the wide receivers that have come from Ohio over the last few years, and Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Mika Ibuka, Chris Olave as well. He was the one that everyone said he's better than all of them. So it can't just be that all of a sudden he's turned bad overnight and the other four are lighting it up at the minute. They're all having success in their own team. So I think there's more to come from him. But definitely. We'll jump into our FTAG5, Adam. And see where we're going. We'll see how well Bet365 works for us this time. If not, we might move to a different site. I found it quite tough again this week. You see in the split now, the better teams are now a touchdown or more in some of their games, and the closer games are just really hard to call at the moment. So with that said, my first one, I've gone with the Washington Commanders at -1 at the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have, the -2 now, it's gone the other way. It was -1 literally last night. Was it last night or this morning? Did I send these this morning?
You sent it to me this morning. It was -1.
There you go. It's now -2. In favor of the Falcons.
Right. Oh, okay. So see, I haven't got Bet365. It's completely died on me. So I'm going to assume that the reason this has happened is because Jaden Daniels is out for this game. Terry McLaurin is out for this game as well. I still don't care.
Yeah, taking the +2.
I genuinely, I don't. And actually, for anyone who my ACCA article is out already, if you want to go to Free Bets and read it, Washington is in there. I went for the minus. Well, no, I just went with Washington to win, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we saw how they played last week without Jaden Daniels, and to be honest, Terry McLaurin wasn't really that involved either.
He hasn't been a massive factor this year yet.
No. So, and Marcus Mariota looked okay. He didn't look amazing, but he looked okay. He looked solid. Zach Ertz got involved. The run game was good, and they came out and they won pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
And I know they were at home, so it's a little bit different. But they're going away to a Falcons team who couldn't score a single point against the Carolina Panthers, who, don't get me wrong, the Panthers, as I said last week when we did the show, I came out and said I think that maybe the back end of that Cardinals game that they had might kickstart something for them. So I was expecting them to, the accavoid was the Falcons that week, and we didn't like them as the favourite. And so it did make me think that, the Panthers might do something here. I didn't expect them to stop the Falcons from scoring completely. And so with or without Jaden Daniels, it's very difficult to get behind the Atlanta Falcons at the moment, because that kind of, to me, that just feels like a complete giving up. Like they've just literally, they've played the Panthers and they've literally just gone, yeah, we're jacking this in. Like there's no point, because to score nothing, I mean, it's actually quite impressive to score nothing, because kick returns now are normally like 35 yards, aren't they? The 35-yard line. So it's actually quite tough to not even get a field goal. And I wouldn't say that, although I think the Panthers improved, I wouldn't say they were amazing by any stretch. So I think it's really difficult to get behind the Falcons. I've got a different accavoid for this one because I didn't realise it's changed that much, but I would have been all over this for that one. So yeah, you did it -1. I've written it down as Washington to win. On the money line. Now take the +2 on them. I'd still take it.
I did mine with the impression that Daniels wasn't playing. When I picked the -1, I was like, wow, I don't think he's going to be back. So I was quite comfortable with that. They put 40 odd points up against the Raiders, which no one, I think it's time to stop saying that the Raiders are sneaky good, Adam. But
yeah, I think it's a shame. I've been saying it for a while. I felt that they were, but yeah, I kind of agree with you now. They just looking not amazing.
As you said, we saw the Falcons not play well against the Panthers. So I think the Commanders on paper are probably better than the Panthers. So
absolutely. I think the +2, take it. I think it makes an awful lot of sense. I still like them for the money line. But yeah.
Yeah, next game, I have taken the San Francisco 49ers. I took them at -3.5. They are now -3. So you can get them within that field goal now for a push. Going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which are slowly becoming, to me, if you like, what the Raiders used to be, where they could just lose games themselves a little bit. So I'm finding they're a bit inconsistent. And the 49ers still, regardless of who quarterbacks their team, are playing good football. The defense is good. They're putting points up. They're distributing the ball well. And they've still got Christian McCaffrey. And why they've still got Christian McCaffrey, I will take them at a field goal to beat the Jaguars. So I'm sticking with the 49ers.
Yeah, I like the 49ers in this one. I think overall, I don't actually think there's that much between these two teams. I just think that the 49ers have got that extra bit of spark or magic about them, which probably is Christian McCaffrey, to be brutally honest. And the Jags are just, it's been a bit of a rocky ride. They've had a few drops, haven't they, from their receivers? That's been difficult for Trevor Lawrence to overcome a little bit. Sometimes he hasn't looked amazing. The run game's been good. I think that ETN and Tootin, I think, have looked pretty good for them. But defensively, they are a team who they're pretty solid, but they do give up points. And I think going away to a 49ers team who, I think we're literally seeing the definition of a system working here. With, to a certain extent, it doesn't really matter if it's Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, because they do just have the setup for it to work. And obviously, like you say, with Christian McCaffrey there, it's amazing. He works really well in that system. He's going to see loads of the ball again this week. Ricky Pearsall as well. Yeah. I thought he had a really good game last week. With George Kittle out, he's looking really, really good. And yeah, I think that you've just got a team here who are in a better place as well. The Jags are 2-1, so it's not like it's all doom and gloom for them. But the 49ers, just despite all the injuries, and of course they've had another big injury with Nick Bosa going down, it kind of feels like they just have the ability to keep it rolling and keep going. And I think you're probably going to see that in this game. So yeah, I don't think there's much between the two teams, but like a -3, I think that's probably about right, and probably where you'll see the 49ers will win and just win just enough in order for this to come through.
Yeah, the next one I've gone for is a bit of a slightly higher one. I'm just going to check to make sure it's still the same, because so far we're 2 for 2 on the move in from just this morning. So here we have gone with the Green Bay Packers at -6.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Where are you? There you are. Still the same. No move. Now, the Green Bay Packers were stunned a little bit last week. We won't talk too much about it in case Adam starts crying. But they're going up against the Dallas Cowboys this week, whose defense will make even the worst of quarterbacks look incredible, like their MVPs playing in their prime, as Russell Wilson had a lot of success there. And we saw Caleb Williams, who a lot of people are out on, have another game of success. So I'm quite confident in that Dallas Cowboys defense being bad. Jordan Love is a well above average quarterback with a lot of offensive weapons on that team. And I just think your defense is going to keep Dak quiet. They're going to be without CD Lamb. So it's stop Javonte Williams and then put a couple of people on George Pickens to make sure he doesn't make any splash plays. And you'll win this game by 10 or more points, I think.
Yeah. I think you're probably right with this one. When you look at the Cowboys and what they've done so far this season, it's defensively been very poor, and I think that's going to continue to happen now all the way through this season. I just don't see where it gets any better. This is what happens when you trade your star edge rusher away, isn't it? So it's.
Well, I still think if you put Parsons in that defense, it doesn't make that defense
that's a fair point, but I just think if you trade someone like that away, it just completely deflates the room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's you're just not going to get anywhere with it. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but it really does have an impact on it. So yeah, I think they're going to really, really struggle with this. And obviously with CD Lamb missing because of the high ankle sprain, it's tough. It is tough to see where the points come from for the Cowboys here, because like you say, not only are they going up against a very strong defense in the Packers, but you've lost your main wide receiver. It is going to be about stopping Javonte Williams, but I think there's a limit to what you get from Javonte Williams anyway. And then you've got George Pickens. Jake Ferguson is kind of just more about the amount of receptions he gets than touchdowns. And you've got a fast guy to stop in Kevontae Turpin. That's kind of what you're dealing with here. So it feels like the Packers should win this relatively comfortably. I don't quite know what to say about the offense from last week. It just didn't happen. It was like it just never got going. And obviously it was up against the Browns defense, who, in fairness to the Browns, their defense looks relatively solid. It's not too bad. And, it managed to restrict Joe Burrow and the Bengals to 17 points in the first week. And it's now managed to restrict the Packers to 10 points in week 3. So it's not amazing, but it's definitely got some fight in it, the defense. But yeah, I mean, you would expect the Packers offense to sort of come back and do well in this game, in a game and a stadium that they've done very well in previous years with Jordan Love as well. So, there's good sort of like history there for him. So yeah, I think -6.5 is a line that this should be coming in.
Yeah, it's under the touchdown. They're still without Cooper Beebe as well. He's going to be out for a few more weeks as well. So without their center there as well, and how strong your front seven is, it's going to.
There's a couple of O-line guys as well, isn't there? Isn't one or two of the Tylers are out? I can't remember.
Oh really? I didn't.
I think there's so many of them. I can't remember which one.
What, one of the two of the three, or one of the three?
One of the two. I can't remember.
So that could be interesting. Another reason why you're going to overpower them. The next game, this is where it started getting tough for me. I was like, there's no real obvious ones. I'm going to take teams that I think are, good enough to cover their spreads at the minute. Can't even find it. It's working well. There it is. I have taken, the Giants fan has taken the -3.5 for the Eagles at the Buccaneers. Now, I've had the Buccaneers in my ACCAs a little bit lately, and they've kind of been the team that's let me down. They've scraped a few victories. And I just don't think scraping victories is going to get it done against an Eagles team that will wear you down and be really good in the fourth quarter on defense. We saw them unlock their offense a little bit last week as well and learn how to throw the ball to AJ Brown. So they're getting options now because Saquon was quite quiet. They relied on AJ Brown. They're showing that they have got options if the run game isn't there. So if they find a happy medium of the both of them, I think they're going to be dangerous. And like I said, they're just being able to wear teams out on that with that defense. And by the fourth quarter, they keep pushing ahead. And Buccaneers have been hanging on in fourth quarters. So I think that's where the swing is, and the Eagles can win this game. The 0.5 worries me because it could be a field goal. But looking at the others, I like this one to come through.
Yeah, I think what you're dealing with here is like what you say. You've got an Eagles defense that just wears oppositions down, and not only is it that, it's now the offense is showing that it can win in multiple different ways, which is, we knew that anyway, but it's just showing it again for this particular season as well. So I think that it makes sense as to why you're going for the Eagles at the -3.5. I agree with you. The 0.5 obviously is a bit annoying, but even still, I think that you're dealing with an Eagles team that is now showing that it can win in multiple ways. The Rams basically sort of sold out to stop the run. That was kind of the idea. They're now, and then you saw Hurts just pass the ball to AJ Brown, and that kind of like that. So it didn't matter. They managed to win in that way. And with the Bucks, yeah, a lot of these games have been close. They've been really tight affairs.
They should have lost a couple of them, I think.
And
they should have lost.
Yeah, so it's been close. Mike Evans is out, which is obviously a big loss for them as well. I would expect Egbuka to get involved a lot in this game, and he will see the ball quite a lot. But I just think the Eagles are going to have more weapons and a stronger defense to overpower the Bucks, all in all. So, yeah, -3.5 is not the end of the world, to be brutally honest. And as you say, it does get more and more difficult. So it's not a bad one, really, when it comes to it. So yeah, I would be I'd be happy to take this one.
Yeah. The last one we're going to try and get it up. Bet365 has had its limit. You can use it for a little bit, and then it's like, nah, I'm done with you. So let's try.
I mean, we had 22 minutes. What more could you want? Mm-hmm. So,
Skybet has done us. Let's see if the odds are the same, because the last one we have gone for is, yes, it's the same on here. I have taken the Baltimore Ravens at -2.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's at Kansas, but it's within a field goal, and I haven't seen enough from the Chiefs in the games they've played so far to say that they're going to beat this Ravens team. And I think the field goal is enough for me to go with the Ravens, but they haven't lit the world up, but I think they've had tougher games. I think the Chiefs played the Giants last week, and I watched the game, and they were kind of hanging around in that game until the fourth quarter, and then they pushed ahead. So that's not going to happen against this Ravens team. It's too good offensively to let a team like the Chiefs hang around if that's the case. So I don't think you're going to get as many fumbles from Derrick Henry this week. I think they'll be quite competent on offense. Defense, I'm quite comfortable with. So I'm happy to take the field goal here for the Ravens, who I think they really need the win this week.
I think they both really need the win.
Yes, that's true.
It's crazy to think that the loser of this game is going to be 1-3. So, it's like, that's real big problems, I think, for whichever team does lose this one. I don't like it. It's not. I hear what you're saying. Everything you say makes sense. I have no problem with the logic behind it. I think that the Ravens offense has shown more than what the Chiefs offense has, and I think that the Ravens have played harder opposition than what the Chiefs have as well. So I hear everything you're saying. Don't want a bar of this game at all. Not interested.
It's because we've been stung so many times before by the Kansas City Chiefs on the show, where we're kind of like, yep, we think they're not as good as what they are. All signs point towards that, and then they play and they win, and you go, oh, okay, where did that come from? So that's probably why. But I think at this stage of the season, I think logic until the Chiefs get their full wide receiving core back, because I think Worthy's back this week, isn't he?
Yeah.
Until they get that full wide receiving core back, I think the Ravens might just edge it. So that's why I've gone for it. But I understand.
You're probably right. I'm not going to say that you're not, and I kind of agree in a way that I do. I feel like the Ravens at the moment, just although they're 1 and 2, I feel like, losing to the Lions. Lions look good against them, so it was like it's a tough one. They played pretty well against the Lions. They just the concern with the Ravens from the long term point of view, it feels like their defense has just disappeared. Like that's the concern with the Ravens, but I don't see the Chiefs putting up enough points in order to really hurt them. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I just don't want to know.
Fair. So if you don't want to know on that one, Adam, what's the one that we missed? What's the one you want to put in there instead?
I mean, it's really, really horrible, isn't it? That there isn't anything that exciting. And the one that I saw and I sort of thought, oh, I quite like that one, was the Chargers at -6.5. It is a big amount, but I don't know. I quite like the Chargers at -6.5 because I think that they're going to win. The problem is that they don't really put up loads of points. The other one that I sort of thought of was the Texans, but at Sky Bet they've got it at -7.5, which is horrible. It wasn't that; it was -6.5 yesterday. So it is really, really difficult. I think, despite that, this is a coin flip game, and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but I'm still sticking with the fact that I think that the Raiders are a little bit sneaky good.
He's rolled with the sneaky good Raiders again.
I still think
on offense all year.
Still think they've got something there. And at -1.5 against the Bears, I think they looked all right last week, but there was so many reasons for that. The Cowboys' defense was atrocious. And wasn't it like the first time that Caleb Williams hadn't been sacked in a game? I'm sure I've read something like that.
It's got to be because last season he was sacked loads.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, if you can start sacking him and start getting pressure on him, it all starts to fall apart. And I think people like Max Crosby will make a big difference in that game to it. So I think the Raiders -1.5, but I don't really like it, to be honest.
Yeah, I've actually gone for the Bears on my picks for that game.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't know who to pick. Do you know what? It's one of them things where like you say, we've been hurt so many times by going against the Chiefs that it makes you go, don't want to do that. But when you look at everything else that's on there, it's difficult to come up with a better one. So I'm very happy to stick with the Ravens at -2.5.
Yeah, everything else was just too big of a margin. I mean, you got taken the +15.5 against the Bills. Anything could happen in garbage time and ruin that bet. I think the 9.5. The Browns' defense is good, so Lions, I could see them winning it by a touchdown, maybe. But yeah, I think if you're really I'm surprised that you didn't put your money where your mouth is and have the Rams beating the Colts. But
yeah, I mean it's another game, isn't it, where it feels very it could be quite a close one. We've clearly all underestimated the goals here and haven't quite gone for we all haven't seen it, and yet now we're all seeing it, and it's how well it's going. My concern with the Rams specifically for this week is that not only are they playing a team who actually look like can put up some points, they kind of capitulated a little bit against the Eagles, and that's a bit of a concern for the week after. I just sort of
they should have won that game against the Eagles.
yeah they should have done, and it's
goals.
yeah they kind of let that go, so it's a difficult one. I don't know, is it like you say, some of them they're too big. The Texans at -7.5, that's the one that kind of does scream out a little bit. But they've not been good on offense, but the Titans are pretty poor as well. So yeah, I mean the Texans it was 6.5 last night, which would have been much nicer. But yeah, so no, I'm very happy to stay with the Ravens.
Just before we go for accavoid, you can get the Commanders at +2.5 on here.
Yeah.
So it's getting better. We're nearly at the field goal.
Yeah, wherever you go, you just move to another site, it gets better again. It's great.
Yeah, we'll be having +10 soon. What's your accavoid this week?
Right, so we're kind of sticking on this same thing, to be brutally honest. I'm going for the New England Patriots at -5.5. They're the team that I'm gonna avoid, because although I think the Patriots have looked all right this season,
so have the Panthers.
So well, yeah, and I kind of sort of rate the Panthers after last week, and they in a way they kind of did what I thought they would do, where I feel like that sort of comeback in Arizona really made a big difference to their season, and kind of got Bryce Young going, and they came out against the Falcons and he just got going straight away, so it does kind of feel like the Panthers might be a decent team to keep on side for the rest of this season now, because I think they will do all right against some of these other teams who are not amazing. So, yeah, -5.5. The Patriots struggled against the Steelers to really put any points up. I think they had 14, I think it was in the end. And although they did well against the Dolphins, I think pretty much most teams are going to put points up against the Dolphins. So yeah, I don't like the -5.5, and I do actually think the Panthers have got a chance of winning this game without the 5.5. So because of them reasons, I would avoid the Patriots.
You will be pleased to know, Adam, that this week in all the running back drills, Travion Henderson's been the number one back to attempt everything, Ramondre being the third. So you might...
I mean, I understand that there's a sort of unwritten rule of that the veteran gets first go, but sometimes you just think to yourself, what are you doing? Like, right, this isn't the first time this has happened with Vrabel either. Like, he's got a bit of a history of making sure that the veteran has a lot of time, and you just sort of think, why are you doing this? You've got a guy who's decent sitting there doing nothing, and you keep giving it to the bloke who can't hold on to the ball. It's baffling, absolutely baffling. So yeah, great. It's about time that Henderson got involved a lot more than what he does, because I think it's going to end up costing them if he doesn't.
Yeah. Touchdown scorers. I think it's your turn to go first for the early game, isn't it? What was it? Yeah. Well, it's got to be, surely.
Yeah. Right. So we had a winner last week.
Well done.
16 point something to 1. I can't remember now. But yeah, we had a winner last week. Fine. Right. So early touchdown scorers. So I've gone for Dalton Kincaid. All these odds, by the way, that I'm going to say were on Bet365. So maybe we'll give up on them. But Dawn Kincaid for the Bills going up against the Saints, who defensively are not great. There is a little bit of a concern for me that the Bills might just run the ball like all game and that'll be enough. But I think that Kincaid seems to be getting involved enough to become a bit of a threat. So at 12-5, I think he is one to look for. In the Patriots-Panthers game, I'm going for Hunter Henry at 2-1. We saw he got a couple of touchdowns last week, but he does seem to be just... I wouldn't say he's Drake May's favourite target, but he does seem to be very comfortable with Hunter Henry. So I think that at 2-1, he's a decent price who will see quite a lot of targets. So I quite like the look of him. And then finally, just to annoy you, Keenan Allen for the Los Angeles Chargers against the New York Giants. Allen is just getting an insane amount of targets and always seems to pop up with a touchdown. This season, I think has he had 4 in 3 weeks or 3 in 3? I can't remember now. So yeah, he was 9-4 when I looked at him. I actually, before we came on, I had a look. He's now 6-4 on Paddy Power, so he's really gone in. So Kincaid, Allen, Henry. Last night on Bet365 was 32.15 to 1. At the moment on Paddy Power is 23.75 to 1 because Allen has gone in. So yeah, so it's a bit of a bigger one.
Yeah, I've got a shorter one, which is the wrong way round. It's usually you that's got the short one, and I've got the bigger one.
I've got a short one coming up. Don't worry.
I have also got Keenan Allen at 2-1. Last week you had the winner, and I think you messaged me saying just need Keenan Allen to get a touchdown and mine's in, and I was sat there going, I just need Quentin Johnson, and I've got mine. And I looked at the odds again, and I was like, I like Quentin Johnson again at 7-4 because they have targeted him on those long throws.
They did quite a bit, didn't they?
Every single game without fail. And against the Giants, it could be the game that happens. But as you said, Keenan Allen is just in the end zone all the time, isn't he? You know he's going to be used in the red zone, whereas Quentin Johnson's are the big bombs, which aren't as percentage-wise successful as just red zone targets. I've also taken Nico Collins at 23-20. I think there's going to be points for the Texans in this game, and he is the go-to guy for them. So I think he's going to see a lot of the ball. And then finally, I put in the other hot hand of someone who's in the team, and I put Tetairoa McMillan at 21-10. Just think Panthers, you reckon they've got a shot. I think they'll be decent in this game too against the Patriots, and he's the guy for me. I think he looks like a win for the Panthers going forward as just as an organization, not just for this game. So that came in at 19-1. So I'm not that short on the odds. And I also would like to know, originally I had another player in this and I changed him out for McMillan. But if you wanted to put Egbuka in the bet instead of McMillan, it only takes you down to 15-1. I just was unsure with them playing the Eagles. I know the ball's literally only going to go to him and probably Bucky Irving quite a lot. But 19-1 with Tetairoa McMillan, Keenan Allen, Nico Collins. I think they're good odds.
Yeah, definitely. And I like you say, McMillan is the main guy for the Panthers and Bryce Young. Obviously, like Allen, and Nico Collins was actually my one who got taken out because it was between Nico Collins or Dalton Kincaid, and I kind of went with the odds, which made it a lot bigger. But yeah, Nico, I think, has the potential to have a really big game this week. So yeah, he's a decent one. For the late games, Much smaller one. I went for Puka Nakua for the Rams at even money. Originally, I went Devontae Adams, but he's actually been out, hasn't he, for a couple of days with a hamstring injury, and they're not sure if he's going to play. So yeah, Puka at even money. Ricky Pearsall at 27 to 20. I just getting so many targets now, and I mean that only becomes. I wouldn't say necessarily better, but I suppose it does only become a bit better if Brock Purdy's there. But I think whoever it is, he'll have a good game. And then finally for the Chicago Bears, Rome Odunze, again, who is just constantly getting peppered with targets. Worked out to just under 12 to 1. 11.88 to 1 is what it is at Paddy Power at the moment. The only other thing I would come out and say, if you want to do it and boost the odds up a little bit, Trey Tucker for the Raiders in the Bears Raiders game is 11 to 4. So if you put him in instead of Odunze, it'd be 18.83 to 1. So yeah, I mean, obviously up to you. I'll stick with Puka, Pearsall, and Odunze, but I think Tucker has got a chance of getting in again. He had 3, didn't he, last week? I think it was. So yeah, I think he's got a decent chance, and he's getting seeing quite a lot of action from Geno Smith. So yeah,
I've also got Rome Odunze in my bet. Seems to be a common theme with this, getting a couple of the right people in the same place. I've also gone for Bashal Tutum, been in 2-2. Is used as I know. I think Etienne's also been in 2-2, but I think towards that red zone in the passing game, he's been on there, and we've seen what Cohen did with Bucky Irvin and White, where he sort of blended them in slowly and slower, and then Bucky Irvin took over, and Tutum's a very similar style of player, so I can see him wanting to use him at 13 to 5. So I'm going to take him to get him for a 3rd week running. I'm going to tell you my odds now, Adam, before I tell you my last player. The odds are 47 to 1, and you seemed quite comfortable with the Odunze and Tutum in the bet.
So I've got Odunze. Obviously, I've got Odunze in mind. I've written Tutum down as a potential. I have no one else who's a big enough odds in order to make this 47 to 1, but is it in the Ravens Chiefs game?
Yes.
Is it a Chiefs player?
Yes.
Is it Tyquan Thornton?
Yes, it is. I know Worthy's back, and he might take some of those big shots off of him, but he seems to be the most reliable guy on that team, and he's getting in the end zone. And if Mahomes trusts him and he's going to look to him, this might be the last week it goes to him. If once Rice and Worthy are both back, I think maybe he might lose his spot. So that's not happened yet. So at 17 to 4, I've got him in for the week. I know it's like say, what will Worthy take his place, or will Worthy be in the slot and used more on the short? Sort of getting him in behind the line and things like that. Is Thornton's position still available for what they've been using him for? So
yeah, I think that it's not a bad shout. It's one that I sort of like. I remember I looked at the Ravens Chiefs, and I just in the end I went, you know what, I don't want anything. But I looked at it and I just kind of went, yeah, he's pretty big odds, isn't he, Tyquan Thornton? And obviously, he got in last week? Did he get in the week before? I think he's had a couple, hasn't he?
So he's been in. Yeah, he's been in already 3 times. He had 4 targets week 1, 5 targets week 2, and 9 targets last week against the Giants. So we're seeing more and more targets go his way as the weeks go on. So I think Mahomes is, you know, he was new to them this year. Did they pick him up from the Patriots? He was at the Patriots, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
I liked him there. So it looks like they finally, you know, he's trusts him, and there's a relationship building there with him. We saw this with Rice when he first got there. They slowly built it up, and then all of a sudden he was the guy. So I think there's room for him to see the targets, and if you're going to see the targets, then I'm going to put some money on you. And 5 catches on 9 targets, I'm putting my money on him.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I mean, we've been saying, haven't we, that they need a quick deep threat, and they may have just sort of like stumbled across him, to be honest, with what's happened here, because he does have that speed, but he's also got that sort of big body about him. He kind of he's a bit Dante Thornton like, isn't he? He's kind of got that sort of look about him, and so yeah, I think it's a great one at 17-4, and I mean, I don't know what the odds are because I'm doing it off my head, sort of thing, but someone like him in a double with a Dunze, you know, would not be, that would be decent odds, I would have thought. I mean, you're probably looking at what, 10-1, 9-1.
I'll be able to tell you.
I mean, Adunze's getting so many sort of targets, and you feel like it's a high scoring game with the Raiders and the Bears, and then yeah, why not for Thornton? So I think even if you didn't want to go,
it's 12.5 to 1.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, even better. Yeah, I think he's got a good shout. He's definitely worth a go.
Yeah, even on the double, it's well worth the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, hopefully next week we're coming back and I'm saying, yeah, our close to 50 to 1 bet came in. I'll be riding on that for the rest of the year, so that'll be fine. That's all we've got time for, Adam. We will have lots of stuff coming out for the Vikings-Steelers game. Both myself, Freddie, and Sky are all out there for it. I will put something out specific for this show. I'll probably do a little bet builder when I'm in the stadium and put some of my best bets for the game out as well. Some touchdown scorers, some prop bets, things like that. So I will put something out for that. But till then, keep it with the franchise.